I was recently asked to participate in an interview with a student who's taking some entrepreneur classes, and she was just asking questions about how I got into becoming an entrepreneur and some of my early days, lessons that I've learned, and challenges over the years. And I wanted to share that on this channel. So it's about 30 minutes. If you want to check it out, here it is.
What about your educational background and business background, and what did you do before you started this?
So I only have a high school education. I never went to college. I started working right out of high school. I got married pretty soon out of high school, and I started working for an industrial controls company. That was like my first real job. I didn't know what I was doing, but we built control panels for like conveyor belts and stuff. I did that for about a year and a half. And then I started selling life insurance, and I started that in about 2009. And I sold life insurance most of the way up until I started my YouTube channel in 2017. I did take a little bit of a break, and I sold cars for like a year and a half in that period of time.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of education through sales from selling life insurance. And I did final expense, if you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. It's like just burial policies that cover like $10,000 funerals for low-income people.
Okay.
So I would go around in neighborhoods basically and knock on doors. I would buy some leads and go knock on their doors. And so I did that for about 10 years and spent a lot of money on leads. I didn't even realize, I wasn't smart enough to know how the lead buying worked. And in some of the businesses, the way that it's structured, I would order leads and I didn't even really know the true cost until the bill would hit later, or it would, like your sales would go towards those lead costs, but if you didn't make enough sales, you'd end up having to owe more. So when I got out of it, I still owed like 30 grand in lead costs. So that was kind of a mess and a frustrating experience in life. And that kind of forced me into finding something different, which was my YouTube channel in 2017. I just saw people earning income online through posting content. Didn't know what I was doing, but just started posting and was able to pursue a path that way and build a business through guiding, promoting my guide business through my YouTube channel. And that was how I was able to kind of go full-time quickly in 2018 after I started my channel in 2017.
Oh, okay. My daughter did the insurance door to door.
Did she?
Yep.
It's a tough business.
Exact same thing.
I mean, you can make a lot of money, but it's a tough business.
Well, that's what she said. She said she could have made a lot of money, but getting in it and then all the effort putting into it, it was a lot for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. She's now at a daycare.
Okay.
She didn't make it either. She was like, I'm out.
It's tough. But great education, though. Like, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about sales, and you learn a lot about yourself. And so, I mean, I don't regret it. It's, helped me get to where I am today, but it's a tough business.
My grandmother was a life insurance salesman for 20 years. As a teenager, did you feel like you ever wanted to be an entrepreneur, run your own business?
I did. So my oldest brother, I'm the youngest of six, he was big in the real estate market in our hometown of Millbrook. He grew to the point where he owned a construction company, a real estate management company, and an investment company, all tied to real estate in the area. He was building apartment complexes, managing apartment complexes, owning apartment complexes. That was while I was in high school, was kind of his rise in that time, and I saw a lot of that. I worked for him in high school and actually co-opted in high school, where I only went to school for half a day and would go and work with him the rest of the day. And I did a lot of the bookkeeping and just kind of administrative stuff, just to kind of hang around the business and be exposed to what the business looked like. And so that was kind of where I started, like, hey, I just want to be an entrepreneur. And that's when I decided, this was like in 10th grade, that I wasn't going to go to college. I was going to pursue a path of entrepreneurship. And I was going to try to get associated with him and go that route. But in 2008, of course, the real estate crash. So all of that came crashing down. And so that's kind of why my entry into the professional world was through the industrial controls company and then into insurance sales.
Can you explain the details of like your new business? Because now that you're transitioning, like, it's all going to be new, it's all going to be different. So what exactly are you offering? I watched your last video, but I'm still trying to, it was kind of vague, to be honest. When I was watching, I was like,
Were you watching on the Bama Beach Bump channel?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't give a lot of detail on that. That was basically like, hey, I'm just kind of stepping away from this channel. I didn't want it to be a lot of what I'm getting into now. So the realization that I had throughout the course of my content journey was I made some money on the ad revenue, which that's how a lot of content creators make their money, is from the platform itself. You can make money from YouTube, from the ads that they post. You can make money from Facebook, same way they're posting ads on those videos. I did monetize through my business, which was guiding. I did that for a little bit, stepped away from it, stepped back into it last year, just to have start trying to build a legitimate business outside of the content itself. But that was all tied to me, mostly. We partnered with some other guides and farmed out some trips, but mostly it fell on me to go run these guides physically. So that's kind of a hard thing for me to scale. So I've been looking for another business, which Beach Club Outdoors was one as well that we started. Now we have a lot of partners in that one. That's kind of a different game and a long game on that one. So that's not really anything that's going to provide any revenue anytime in the immediate future. But what I started working on for myself was a coaching business. So because of my experience with social media, last year around March, I started offering to people that are trying to get into social media coaching, teaching them what I've learned over these 8 years and the mistakes that I've made and how to structure videos properly and how to navigate the algorithm and how to make sure you're on brand with what you're trying to brand and what that messaging says. And these algorithms are tied strongly to AI now, so like understanding how that works and how you craft your messaging so that the AI picks it up and shows it to the proper audiences. So that's kind of how I got started in it. But to do that, I realized that I needed a way to extract people from my social media and bring them into my world to control the messaging. Because social media, I have no control over who sees my videos. Of course, I've got subscribers, I've got followers, but when I post a video, it's still up to the algorithm who sees that.
Yeah.
So if I want to market a product, I have to be able to control that audience without a way to say, hey guys, I have this thing over here and I need to pull you into my world. There's no ownership, right? I don't have any way to actually direct my messaging to you when I have an offer. So I started building the back end of my business around the same time when I started offering the coaching, which was lead extraction and having entry points so that when people raise their hand and say, yes, I am interested in this thing, I have a clear path for them to come out of the social media, come into my world, and now I can automate messages to them to drive them to a sale. There's a lot of complexity to that I didn't realize, and I'd always been kind of scared of it because there's a lot of tech involved.
Same.
And
Yeah.
and it's overwhelming. And so it was a big enough pain point that I finally just forced myself to dive in and learn it. So throughout the entire course of last year, I was learning the back end systems to do that exact process. I realized towards the end of last year that it was a tough sale to coach people on social media because a lot of the people trying to get into social media aren't necessarily financially stable. They're looking for another opportunity, like as was I when I was stepping into social media. So it's a hard thing to sell people a product when they don't have a ton of money. So, but I realized that I kind of knew both sides now. I knew the content side pretty well and messaging, and I knew the back-end system as well as far as like extracting leads and sending them down a path to make a sale. So I started marketing to businesses, and this was very new in December of last year when I started focusing on that. But using my social media reach to market specifically to businesses that are either trying to grow on social media and actually pull leads from their social media, or if they already are having a lot of traffic, but it's very messy and very sloppy and they're leaking a lot of leads because they don't have a proper system in place to track and keep up and automate messages to them. They either fall in one of those two buckets, most businesses. So I've started marketing to them, offering different packages to where I can come into their business and clean that up for them or structure a plan to make sure that they are getting their leads from content.
Now, how is your plan structured? Because, I'll be honest, in this course that I'm in, I'm in 7 different classes.
Okay.
And one of them last semester went through the back end and kind of, now they don't touch base as much on it.
Sure.
So, and it's really hard to learn, I'll be honest.
It's a
when
lot,
I dug into it, it's
Sure.
a lot.
Yeah.
I have put a lot of focus on content marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you dig, the deeper you get.
Sure.
You're not gonna, it's like a never ending hole. You're just gonna keep digging.
Right.
So but how do you structure it? How do you send it to a business and offer it to them? How does your pricing structure work? And how did you build it as a business?
So I have a sales process where I offer, so the entry point that I've built are lead magnets, which lead magnets are just in exchange for their information, I'm giving you something for free.
Right.
And I have a couple that I used that are different entry points. One's for the content side, one's for the back-end business side. So I'll make a video or make a post on my social medias, and I have a lot of avenues now because I've built social media, which are still very small, specifically for this business. And then, of course, I have my Bama Beach Bum brand, which I still throw out some stuff on Facebook or Instagram, which those are larger accounts and they do get some exposure. And then, of course, I have my personal account as well, which I've just accepted friend requests from people over the years that have followed my account. So it's a large social media. I don't know anybody on there, basically. It's not just my friends and family. So I market through those channels and I'll offer these lead magnets. So I'll make a post and say, hey, if you are struggling with this, if you're looking to grow your content, or if you're looking to clean up your lead system because you don't have a proper backend system, here's this free thing that'll give you a little bit of information about it. Of course, it doesn't teach them everything, but it gives them a starting point so that they understand kind of what maybe they're missing or elements that they can improve from a simple standpoint. But when they opt into that, they get dropped into my system. And once they do, now they get a series of emails over the course of however long that are directing them to where I want them to go next. On the content side, generally I'm trying to sell them on my course. I have a course that I put together. It's a video course. And so most of the marketing directed to that funnel or that system is to get them to buy the course. Once they buy the course, then I want them to get on a phone call. So then they get dropped into another system in another sequence where I'm trying to lead them to get to a phone call to me. So I can assess their situation, see where they're at, see if there's further steps for one-on-one coaching or any other products that I have. For the business side, it's simply just trying to get them to a phone call is the main thing. Because if I'm going to talk to a business and get them to spend the money that it's going to cost for them to work with me, I have to get them on a call and go over that with them because it's kind of in depth and it's a little bit more sophisticated and be able to explain what actually takes place.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of that you're talking about as far as your lead magnets and dropping it through. I mean, I've watched a lot of it and I see how it plays out and I see where you're going with that.
Sure.
You actually have a great lead way into automation.
Sure.
So where it's basically is if you get it all built out the way you need to, then it's automated. So you're not really having to spend 24 hours a day building your video content to put out there. Because I'm sure when you started, you was probably working a good 11 to 12 to 18 hours a day.
Well, that's still now too, because it's, I'm involved in several businesses. We own a CrossFit gym as well. So like that's a piece of it. And we also still create content around the business side now. I don't do the fishing content, and then of course now I have clients that I'm building these systems for. So my weeks are 7 days a week, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. So every moment of my day is delegated to some.
So how many businesses do you have total?
So it would be 3 is what I would count it as, and that would be my media company, which would be all of my socials and any money that I make from there. I've got our CrossFit gym, which is local, and then my coaching business. I'll put a little asterisk beside Beach Bum Outdoors. That's not really one that I have a ton of skin in the game on. It was mainly a branding deal that we helped launch that company, and I'm still associated with it, but it's not anything that I'm really count as mine.
Yeah. When you first started, do you have employees? Like, how did you frame that on hiring your employees, bringing on any partners, taking on debt?
So I've learned a lot of lessons, and some of it, I've had great partners and I've had some really bad partners in different businesses. And I don't know that I want to get into necessarily the details of that, but it's just, I think the biggest thing when you're trying to find partners to go into business with, and this sounds simple, but it's easy to overlook when you're excited getting into an opportunity, is finding somebody that aligns with your values. And if you don't, because business and how you treat your customers and how you treat your vendors and your employees, a lot of that comes down to what you value. And if you don't have the same value system in how you treat the people, you're going to butt heads, and there's going to be struggles moving forward. And so I haven't entered in any new partnerships since I've had some lessons that I've learned, but going forward, that's going to be a big piece of what I'm looking for more than anything else is just what's your values. How do we treat people, and what's your stance on that? And what's your integrity like that's been an issue that I've run into as well. So those are some things that are important to me for partnerships. Taking on debt, I'm a risk taker. I'll pull a trigger way too fast on that if I need to, if I see the opportunity, if I feel like I have an opportunity to get in and cash flow, or if it's up to me, I believe in myself enough that I'll be able to cover it. So I'm willing to take on debt if I see the opportunity and believe that I can insert myself and my skill set to elevate the business.
Now, did you start in debt? How much did you save to get started? Did you have anything? Did you have a game plan? Was it more informal?
So, with the social media, that was zero cost to start. The biggest debt that I've taken on is with the CrossFit gym. It was a physical gym that I purchased that was an existing business. And so that was where I was willing to take on some debt in order to purchase the business, because even it still made sense with the debt that it would still cash flow. And just doing the math on that, making sure that I could still cover costs but still be able to pay the debt. And it was already an established business. I would say a startup is risky, unless you just have a lot of funds to take on a lot of debt in a startup, because it just takes a lot longer than anybody realizes to actually make a profit. But if you're able to step into an existing business and structure a payment plan, a lot of owners are willing to do some portions of owner financing, which is way better than a bank. You'll get way better terms in most cases.
Like, I've struggled the most with organizing my day. Like, how do you organize your day? How do you plan what you're going to do when you're going to do it?
I do this every day, and this is a very simple task, and a lot of people I think can do this. I have a notepad, and I use it every day. And I try to do it the night before, but if I can't do the night before, it's the first thing I do in the morning. And I just sit down and I write out my categories. I'll go coaching business, gym, social media, and then any other miscellaneous. I'll have like 4 categories, and I just do a list of, if I could get these things done today, I'll feel successful. And it's handwritten, and I check it off. It feels good because there's a million different things that I could do, but I try to prioritize based on, what can I get done today. And generally, you get a lot less done in a day than you think. It's a challenge. There's not a lot of time in a day.
No.
So, I'd put it on the list. I used to make really long lists. I'd have like 20 to 30 items on there, but now it's usually like 6 or 7, because it's a lot more realistic in terms of, okay, I can actually check these things off my list. And that's how I operate every day. I know there's certain tasks that I have to get done every week, from client delivery to gym management tasks. I hand off things. My wife's very helpful. I hand off things to her as I can. The only employees that we have are coaches at our gym. I don't have any employees in any other aspect of my business at this point, but they're very helpful to handle some tasks associated with the gym as well. So I hand off what I can, and then anything else that has to be managed, I put on that list, and I take care of it each and every day. Anything that I don't get to that has to get done on that day just goes to the next day. And so that I keep up with that list. Handwritten, simple, but every day. I should have brought my notepad. I'd flip through. I burn through them very quickly, just like a little legal pad.
I got about 5 notebooks at home. I do the same thing. I have list after list.
Yeah.
And social media content's always been my struggle. Like, because not only do you have to post it, but you have to create it. You have to create it, and then you have to post it.
Yes.
And everything behind it is just so much, so I just put it off for the next day.
Sure.
And then the next day.
Yeah, mine has suffered recently. Social media has obviously been a huge part of what I do, but because I'm so integrated now in client delivery and our gym situation with what we're trying to build there, my day is consumed with a lot of tasks where I'm not able to sit and film. That's why I asked you. I was like, hey, can we film? So I was like, hey, it's an opportunity to get some content without me having to add anything extra to my day. So trying to be proactive.
Yeah. So what do you consider your primary target market?
So for my coaching business, I'm looking for small business owners, generally a service industry, something that they're going to be selling larger ticket items. And then for the gym, CrossFit, it's kind of a different thing, but what we're trying to build out is people that have been athletic at some point in their life, but have stepped away from it, usually in their late 30s, early 40s, and realizing that they're getting into a stage of life where they are beginning to lose strength. Their body's changing a little bit, and they know that they need to step back into that world. That's who we want to target market to for that. So I haven't built the systems out for that. I'm in the early stages, and because of all the client work that I have right now, that one's kind of been put on the back burner, which is unfortunate when my own businesses suffer a little bit, but I have to deliver the content or the deliverables for these businesses that are my clients. But we will build the lead magnets to attract that particular segment of the population, people that have been athletic but have stepped away from it and wanting to get back into it.
So you're mostly doing online as far as your sales and trying to get people. Are you still going out and doing anything? meeting with other businesses that, can help you?
I haven't done any, I call it old school marketing, going to
old school
expos or
marketing.
going shaking
Right,
hands. I
right.
haven't done any of that, and I think it's great. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that still. I don't think it's dead. I think you just kind of have to find your marketing plan that fits your personality. And for me, that's just not it. I don't like going and shaking hands. I don't like mingling. I'm not a mingler. I like more direct. And so I'm able to be more direct with social media in the sense that if I can get into a conversation with you in your DMs, I have a great opportunity at moving you to the next stage. Or if I get into a conversation with you on the phone, so I'd rather be one-on-one and have those conversations and opportunities to move you to the next step. That's just for me personally. So everything that I do on social media is to build a conversation, whether that be with the gym or for my coaching business. I want to talk to them and have that point-to-point contact. And at this stage, I don't have enough lead flow coming in that I can't manage that. Eventually I will hopefully have the opportunity to scale that to where I do have to bring on sales help and people that will kind of handle some of that for me.
So how many's in your business now? How many employees do you have?
Well, the only business that we have employees is through our gym, and we have coaches, and we've got 6 coaches at our gym. But other than that, anything else that's managed from my media company or from my coaching business, that's me.
It's just you.
Yeah,
Just
right
all
now.
you. And your wife.
And my wife, yes. She handles a lot for the gym, and I do hand her tasks for the coaching and stuff. She's very helpful. So she doesn't work. She takes care of our daughter and helps me.
How many years did it take you?
So with
your YouTube channel,
your
YouTube, social.
Yeah, so I didn't. I was
Because
fortunate.
now you're up to like what, 400,000 or something?
So yeah, on Facebook, I think it's 450,000. I think on YouTube, I got it to like 150,000 subscribers. Now, of course, I've stepped away from that pretty much now, but I started being able to monetize through the guide service sooner than I was able to really make money through the ad revenue.
And the guide service is taking people out fishing,
correct?
Right?
Yep. And that was kind of timing that was helpful for me, because more so than timing and demand, I guess, because we live in a tourist area. When I started it, there was nobody else doing it at the time. Like, there were a few surf fishing guides, but none of them were posting YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So I was able to utilize YouTube as a tool from a search engine aspect. So anybody coming to the area was searching Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, fishing, whatever. And I was the only one in this area posting videos. So my videos were popping up, whether they did a Google search or, because Google owns YouTube, whether it was a Google search or a YouTube search, I was popping up. So even though I was brand new, I only started in like towards the end of 2017. By the spring of 2018, I still had less than 1,000 subscribers, but I had enough people asking me to take them fishing that I was able to go full time guiding that season. It was very surprising. You wouldn't be able to do that now, but because of the timing and demand and the fact that I was able to insert myself early to that before a lot of the saturation, I was able to turn that into a business pretty quickly. I didn't start making ad revenue money until towards the end of 2018, and it was very minuscule. When you first start making money from ad revenue, I mean, you're talking $100 a month, maybe.
So how was your revenue on as far as the guiding? How did that do?
So that was my main source of income for a few years. I mean, I never killed it because it's all on me. I would make $60,000, $70,000 a year on the guiding, and then any money that I started making on the social media side would be a bonus for that, essentially.
And you would just put that back into guiding?
It depends. I mean, we saved as much as we could, which allowed us to step into the acquisition of the gym and have other opportunities like that. But yeah, I mean, I never made a ton of money, despite what people think.
So what was your biggest challenges you faced building this adventure of all of these businesses you've done?
Biggest challenge? Yeah, so I guess the realization for me now more so is everything's hard, and you kind of go through stages of growth or decline or being stagnant. You're kind of in one of those 3 categories. And I guess the mental challenges of each one is probably the hardest. And I've been in all 3. I've been in growth stages, and growth stages are not pretty. It sounds great because you're growing, but when you're growing, it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of doing the same thing over and over and over again, the basics that work, and it's exhausting, and it's hard to, even when you're growing, to see far enough ahead to realize that what you're doing is going to produce some type of result. And then you hit plateaus and stages of being stagnant. That, to me personally, is the most uncomfortable. You kind of get lost. You don't know what to do. You've hit a goal, but you don't know what's next. You know what you're doing, at least when you're growing. It's painful and it stinks, but you at least know what you're supposed to be doing. When you get stagnant, it's very confusing, and mentally that's challenging. And then when you're declining, also very mentally challenging, because you're looking around at other people in your industry and you're seeing them, do better than you, see them pass you. You start to play the comparison game a lot, which that's never good, but it's even harder when you're on the downward slope of something. So you're going to be at you're either going up, staying the same, or going down. And I think I've been through all those cycles multiple times in all these businesses, and I think that it's just the mental game and staying mentally sharp. And it's very lonely, being an entrepreneur and being in those stages and pushing through those things. Most of your friend groups and people around you aren't experiencing those same things. And so you're kind of on an island with that. And I think that's probably the hardest thing.
How do you get past it?
I like to work out. That's my physical therapy or mental therapy as well. So I get an hour every day. That's very sacred to me. And I do intense exercise. That's why I chose it, because you can't think about anything other than breathing and counting reps in that moment.
What key mistakes did you feel like you made along the way, and how did you learn from them?
I think not implementing a system early enough where I had a clear plan for my business back-end systems. Like a lot of what it's taken me 8 years to really realize and put into full effect, I wish I had from the beginning. It'd have been a much bigger advantage if I had been doing that all along. I would say that's probably number one, just being organized and implementing actual systems and processes and SOPs, and just, hey, when this happens, this needs to happen, and when this happens, this happens. I think being unorganized and reaching for straws will get you far, but not far enough. I think if you, as an entrepreneur, you kind of have to go through that phase where it's just the world's crashing down on you. You have to reach and grab and do what you can and put a Band-Aid on this, that, and the other just to get by. And I think that works, but I think actually being organized and having a system in place for your processes, it will get you that much further. And not doing that sooner, I think, is probably the biggest regret I have.
Now, curiosity question, how would you have got that sooner? Because don't you learn from what you don't do, and then you put that process into play?
I think reaching out, obviously there were people that would have been ahead of me that I could have hired or had mentors possibly to help me see those gaps sooner and not have to learn them the hard way. So okay. I think there's services and products and other people that possibly could have helped me do better than figure it out.
Yeah, but I noticed with a lot of mentors and a lot of people, like, they don't give you like the knit and grit of your, like, what you're going through or what you're learning. Like, they can't really express, details of what their processes are, or how to go through something. You're like, hey, how do I reach this customer? How do I do they kind of give you more of an overlay of things, especially if it's online. Like, I've tried to do mentors through when I was doing my subscription box. I'm like, okay, I've hit this plateau of 100. Like, I'm out of my league because I'm over what I can do personally. Like, where do I go from here? And it's really more of a vague thing. Like, they don't really give you like the grid of, okay, well, this is where you need to go from here. This is how you need to accomplish that next task. How did you get through that?
Trial and error.
Because you're learning it, you're figuring it out for you.
It was just a big enough pain point for me to dive into it. Like I mentioned, I was definitely scared of it. It was a daunting task to try to learn, and I'm still learning, but it was just enough of a frustration that I took it upon myself that I had to do it. And it took a long time to finally be at a big enough pain point and realize that I've missed a lot of money and a lot of opportunity to learn it. but that's what forced me to it.
Did you learn it by going through courses yourself?
No,
Or did you learn it through just deep diving on?
so
internet?
AI is a very powerful tool, and if you understand it and use it in a way that I feel like you should, instead of people don't fully dive into it, you can learn things very quickly. And without AI, I probably would not have progressed as fast as I have to be able to put the systems in place that I have.
How has being an entrepreneur changed your day-to-day life?
Well, I haven't known much else. I've always, even with in insurance, it was a 1099 situation. It was my own business, so most of my professional career has been an independent contractor or owning my own business. So I don't know what it looks like to be an employee, other than this was 18 years ago, the last time I had a real job. So I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of times when I think that it sounds really relaxing and really nice to just be an employee and walk in and be told what to do and leave and be done with it. But I think I'm very unemployable at this place in my life. I don't think I could have a job and function in that atmosphere. So I don't know. I mean, it's consuming. You have to be obsessed. I feel like if you want to be successful in any endeavor, it just has to be an obsession. And it's a hard thing for me to turn off. From the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I may get an hour or two each night that I spend with my wife. We watch a show or something. But aside from that, I mean, I'm doing something. And I have my list. I don't know. It's just I'm responding to DMs. It's a lot of my businesses are conversations and with people right now, and I just do that in my DMs. Everybody's on their phone anyway. I'm not usually mindlessly scrolling. I'm trying to engage in conversations in people's direct messages and lead them to my funnels and my businesses. Is mostly what I'm trying to do.
So what's your goal in the next 3 to 5 years?
So my big focus right now is the coaching business. I think it's the most scalable option that I have. There's a lot of opportunity to build out entire teams that handle certain aspects of what I'm doing, and be able to increase the offer that I have right now even, and add additional value to these businesses that we step into. So that's a big focus. So right now I'm just trying to refine that process and make sure that I have a clean process and understand, because I'm still very new to it. I have a few clients, but I haven't taken one from end to end yet. So I need to see that entire process, map it out, have it dialed in properly so that I can repeat that process several times over and be able to bring people in and show them how to do certain segments of that process. With the gym right now, we are still servicing debt. Also, we're still bleeding lead flow opportunities because we don't have a lot of the systems that I'm putting in place for these other businesses in place at the gym. And that's kind of step one, is making sure, number one, we're not bleeding leads, because we get them naturally because this business is established. It's been there for years, so we get people coming in the door all the time. But it's like, what happens now? Like, what's this process? Where are all the contact points, and how do we make sure that they stay along the process and actually become a customer and stick with us? So making sure that process is refined. Once that is, we want to pour a little fuel on the fire and increase our marketing efforts to make sure that we have the process in place. Now new people are coming in, we can handle it and elevate that business while we're servicing the debt. The debt should be paid mostly by the end of the year. So hopefully once we are at a place that we have a system, not losing leads, increasing our marketing efforts, debt serviced, hopefully we can be a little bit more profitable, hire a gym manager. Once we have a gym manager and have enough revenue to cover that expense, I'd like to start exploring other locations, probably 2 or 3 years out from that. So in 2 or 3 years, hopefully we have a couple of gym locations based on cleaning all that up, and hopefully maybe at least a team of 3 or 4 that can handle certain tasks with my coaching business. And we've elevated our offer to charge more, and we're dealing with a little bit higher end clients.
So based on your experience, what advice would you give a student that wants to start their venture?
Just start. I think that's the biggest thing with entrepreneurship is, figure out what you want to offer, go find somebody that wants it, and give them that in exchange for money. I think I talk to a lot of people that are trying to get started, and there's a lot of things to get bogged down with. Oh, I need an LLC. I got to get my bank account set up. I got to make sure I got my business license. I got to do this, and obviously, yeah, sure, we got to do all those things. But like step one to owning a business or being whatever it is you want to be is, I offer this thing. Go find someone that wants to exchange for your offer money, and
Yeah.
once you do that, congratulations, you're an entrepreneur. So I think we overcomplicate that process, and it's the same thing with video creation or content creation. You just got to start, and you do it once. You learn a little bit, you see what it feels like, you go through that process. It's going to be messy, it's going to be sloppy, you're going to be really terrible at it, you're going to suck. But the next time you do it, just try to get a tiny bit better. How do I refine this process? How do I make it a little bit better? Whether I'm this offer or this how we exchange funds, how can I tweak this? How can I make it easier for the customer and simpler for me to deliver that product? But the same thing with video creation. That's kind of taught me a lot through systems and processes. When you're getting started, just film a video and put it on the internet. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about titles and thumbnails and anything or structure of the video. Just pull out your phone, film something, put it on the internet. And then the next time you do it, well, how can I get a little bit better? How can I maybe edit this video a little bit better? How can I get my audio a little bit better? Focus on one thing, and as you go through that process, you'll end up somewhere where down the road over time that you're a lot better at it.